Imagine the spiritual masters who have found it, and they're looking at the rest of the world and they're thinking, wow, you don't know what you have. You don't know what is already sitting inside your own home. And this reminds me of a story of how the second Guru, Guru Angad Dev Ji, first met Guru Nanak. The name of Guru Nanak had become quite popular, and Lena, Bhai Lena Ji as we lovingly refer to him, the second Guru, heard about Guru Nanak and decided, I want to go meet this Guru. In those days they were traveling on horses, and Bhai Lena Ji was on his horse, and when he came really near to the town where Guru Nanak lived, he saw an old man and he asked the old man for directions and said, I'm going to visit Guru Nanak, can you show me the way? And the old man said, sure, no problem, I'm going in that same direction, I'll take you there. And Bhai Lena Ji's sitting on his horse and the old man is just kind of walking along. And as soon as they get to a house, the old man says, tie your horse up outside and then you can go into the house. And when you go into the house, Guru Nanak is waiting for you. And Bhai Lena Ji goes and ties his horse up and he enters the house and he sees that the old man is sitting in that house. And he begins to realize, what have I done? This is Guru Nanak. The person who has been guiding me to this is Guru Nanak. Remember that he's trying to go find a spiritual master. Remember he's trying to go find enlightened being, the ones who are the most respected in Indian culture. And he realizes that all this time, I was sitting on the horse and I was allowing Guru Nanak to walk. Where was my pride? Why was I not able to recognize what was right in front of me? And I think this story is such a beautiful metaphor for how we all act. The divine is already sitting inside of us, but we don't know how to look. We don't know that what we're looking at is the divine. We don't know that the divine is already sitting in our home. And we don't know how to recognize this, that Hari is already sitting inside of us. And by Hari, we're not talking about some God that's far away. We're talking about the very essence of life, the very vibration of life. This has been called Onkar, it's been called Shabad, it's been called Naam, Hukam. This power of life is already inside of us. How many times have you heard spirituality is the most important thing in my life? God is priceless. And we can easily dismiss these lines as just cliches, things that are meaningless. But really, there is a subtle message here that there is a union, there is a part of you that you haven't yet found. And that union is priceless, that finding the true part of you. And when we unite with this most priceless gift, then we realize that we had it all along. It was sitting there in our home all this time. And to miss it is the ultimate tragedy. Imagine the spiritual masters who have found it and they're looking at the rest of the world and they're thinking, wow, you don't know what you have. You don't know what is already sitting inside your own home. This peace, this bliss, this true you that is bigger than the I am, bigger than the ego, the ultimate connection with the universe, that is what you really are. Nothing else comes close when you discover that this is who you are. Nothing else is more important than the mind grasping the ultimate reality of who you really are and being in ultimate tranquility, serenity, and bliss.
तकरीबन 10 किलोमीटर का फासला है यहाँ से ननकाना साहब के लिए और बहुत ही अच्छी रोड बनी हुई है। हमें अपने पाकिस्तान को साफ सुथरा रखना चाहिए। खूबसूरत मुल्क हमारे पास है, कुछ हमारी भी जिम्मेदारी है। सिर्फ हमें हुकूमतों पे नहीं ये चीज़ें थोपनी नहीं चाहिए। कोई भी हुकूमत आए, बस हमारी ये कोशिश होनी चाहिए कि हम अपने मुल्क को साफ सुथरा रखें।
फाइनली मैं पहुंच चुकी हूँ गुरुद्वारा ननकाना साहब, जो कि ननकाना साहब में है और ये जन्म स्थान है पहले गुरु साहब का। मैं आपको दिखाऊंगी सारा का सारा और हम बातें करेंगे और जानेंगे कि गुरु साहब की क्या तालीमात थी। स्टे ट्यून। अच्छा भाई साहब, ये बताइए कौन सी जगह और उसकी क्या अहमियत है?
इत्थे बाबा गुरु नानक पैदा हुए ने, सिख मजहब के बानी, जिस तरह इस्लाम मजहब पैगंबर है साढ़ा सिख मजहब के गुरु ने, ये तो शुरुआत हुई। पहले इस इलाके नाम थी बाबा जी जन्म तो पहले राय बुआई तलवंडी। जो बाबा गुरु नानक पैदा हुआ नाम रखे नानक आना ननकाना साहब। 1469 ये रैश का कमरा सी, इतने पैदा होया। फिर सिख मजहब के बानी, सिख मजहब की बुनियाद रखी। सिख के मतलब सिख लोग कोई सकना से आए, लेकिन इन्हें गल दी तोहीद दी कि अल्लाह है कि और कोई दुनिया कोई ताकत नहीं, सिर्फ वो इबादत करनी। वो जेडे गुरु ने जेडे रहबर ने उन्होंने नाल जेड़ा है ना वो गल सुननी। 1469 सिख मजहब की बानी, ये तो साढ़े शुरुआत हुई 550 साल हो गया। हुण इतने जेडे गए 550 साल 2019 19 आए ना, इन्हें मनाना पूरी दुनिया ते सिख आ जाएंगे। तो ये एक बहुत खुशी वाली गल है। जिस तरह इस्लाम मजहब के ईद मिलाद नबी बनाते हो, इस तरह सिख मतलब भाई साहब तस्वीर नहीं लेना चाह, ठीक है, जिस तरह तुम अपना ईद मिलाद नबी मनाओगे इस तरह गुरु नानक। लेकिन गुरु नानक दे भी जाएगी पूरी दुनिया इन शरीक होंगे, मुसलमान भी, हिंदू भी, ईसाई भी, यहूदी भी, सारे शरीक होंगे। गुरु नानक जो फिक्र निकलिया कि इन्होंने इंसानियत की दरसी थी, कोई फर्क नहीं कि मुसलमान केड़ा, हिंदू केड़ा, सिख केड़ा, ईसाई केड़ा, सब मखलूक होते। उन्हें एक शब्द बोलिया, अवले अल्लाह नूर पाए कुदर के सब बंदे, एक नूर ते सब जग उपजे कौन वाले को मंदे। असी वो नूर च आए, तुम मसीते पाई दो, गुरुद्वारे पाई जाने, ईसाई गिरज जाने, हिंदू मंदिर जाने, बकाया अगे अमल का हिसाब होएगा। जिहदे अमल चंगे ने उहदे वास्ते जन्नत ने, जिहदे नहीं चंगे उहदे वास्ते तो।
अच्छा भाई साहब, ये बताएं, वैसे तो मैं गैर सियासी हूँ, लेकिन एक सियासी सवाल मेरे पास आ रहा है। इमरान खान साहब की हुकूमत आई है, उसके बाद नवजोत सिंह साहब पाकिस्तान आए हैं, तो नवजोत सिंह साहब का पाकिस्तान आना और सिख ये जो करतारपुर राहदारी खुल रही है, क्या इमेज पोर्ट्रे हो रहा है नवजोत सिंह साहब का पाकिस्तान आना? आप
उसकी वजह है कि कई चेहरा ने चीज़ां रस्ते बंद सन, हुण दोवां दे ख्याल बन गया, सच्चाई बन गई, कैसे एक हो जाइए। क्यों बकाया गल्लां च कोई फायदा नहीं, इतफाक च ये फायदा है। इतफाक च पाए दोवां दे इतफाक बनिया ते अल्लाह ताला बनी रखे ते वो वेखो अंदाज आएगा, आन जान होएगी ते प्यार मोहब्बत बढ़ेगी।
बिल्कुल प्यार मोहब्बत बढ़ेगा। ये बताइए कि सिख कम्युनिटी कितना इसको पॉजिटिवली ले रही है कि ये करतारपुर राहदारी खुल रही है?
सिख कम्युनिटी पूरी दुनिया च बड़ी खुश है। बिल्कुल, ये बड़ी खुशखबरी दे जवाब है कि साढ़े वजीर आजम साहब इमरान खान साहब ते सिंधु साहब इन्होंने ये खोलिया ते खोल देने, ये बस साड़ी खुशियां हैं। दोवें मुल्क आबाद होंगे, दोवें मुल्क ने खुशखबरी मिलनी, बिल्कुल ये बहुत अच्छी गल है। बहुत कई सालों तो चल रहे, लेकिन अल्लाह ताला ने खुसूस रहमत की थी। सिंधु साहब ते साढ़े वज़ीर आज़म ये दोवें अपन खिलाड़ी भी ने, एक दूसरे प्यार भी ने। साढ़ा जड़ा हैगा अपना जनरल साहब, एदा भी प्यार है कि यार रास्ते खुल जाए तो एक दूसरे प्यार मोहब्बत रहे।
बिल्कुल, हम भी यही चाहते हैं कि रास्ते खुल जाएं और एक दूसरे में मोहब्बत रहे और प्यार बरकरार रहे।
ये जो गल्लां ने गलत गल्लां ज़हन च निकल जाए।
बिल्कुल, बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने बहुत अच्छी बातें की और अल्लाह ताला आपको बहुत खुश रखे। बहुत ही पुरसुकून पीसफुल जगह है। मैंने इससे पहले भी एक दो दफ़ा विजिट किया है, अभी मैं ज़्यादा शोर नहीं करूँगी क्योंकि ये जो आप देख सकते हैं ये एग्जैक्टली जन्म स्थान है गुरु नानक साहब का, और इस वक्त अंदर इबादत चल रही है। और उन्होंने कहा कि हम यहाँ पर तस्वीरें और वीडियोस नहीं ले सकते क्योंकि इस टाइम इत्तिकाफ़ में बैठे हुए हैं। तो मैं बहुत आहिस्ता आहिस्ता बोलूँगी, आप लोग ज़रूर विज़िट करें। ये बहुत ही खूबसूरत और पीसफुल जगह है और हमें जानना चाहिए हर मज़हब की हर चीज़ के बारे में। मंदिर, मस्जिद, गुरुद्वारा हमें विज़िट करना चाहिए और देखना चाहिए कि एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज़ हैपनिंग और कितना खूबसूरत आर्किटेक्चर है यहाँ पर। आप देख सकते हैं बाहर। मैं ज़्यादा ऊंचा नहीं बोल सकती क्योंकि डेफिनेटली ये इबादत गाह है और ये अच्छा नहीं लगता कि हम किसी इबादत गाह में जाकर वहाँ पर ऊंचा ऊंचा बोलें। आप देख सकते हैं मेरे बैक पे कितनी खूबसूरत बिल्डिंग है। सिखों के लिए ये बहुत ही मुक़द्दस जगह है और मेरे पाकिस्तान से बाहर बहुत सारे सिख कम्युनिटी में मेरी फ्रेंडशिप है, मेरे दोस्त हैं, बाब हैं, और वो हमेशा मुझे बोला करते थे कि हम लोग यहाँ पर विज़िट करना चाहते हैं। जब मैं पाकिस्तान वापस आई तो मैंने भी यहाँ पर विज़िट करने का सोचा। जब मैं पहली बार यहाँ पर आई तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा और मैं दोबारा यहाँ पर आई हूँ तो मुझे आज भी बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। पूरी दुनिया से जन्मदिन की तकरीबात मनाने ननकाना साहब लोग आते हैं, पूरी दुनिया से जितने सिख यात्री हैं पाकिस्तान आते हैं। और आपने भी देखा, मैं बात कर रही थी, वो मुझे बता रहे थे कि मतलब इमरान खान साहब का और नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू का एक बहुत अच्छा इक़दाम है करतारपुर राहदारी खोलने का। हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हम विज़िट करें, आज नहीं लेकिन कुछ दिनों बाद मैं ज़रूर विज़िट करूँगी करतारपुर राहदारी।
यहाँ पर। काफ़ी विजिटर्स इस वक्त यहाँ पे मौजूद हैं। भाई साहब बात सुनिए।
हाँ जी।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम सलाम।
अच्छा, आप यहाँ पे विजिट करने आए हैं?
हाँ जी, हम विजिट करने।
अच्छा, तो कैसा लगा और कहाँ से आए हैं ये बताएं।
हम सांगत सिटी से आए हैं। हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा है। ये बात का जगह है।
अच्छा।
जैसे हम लाहौर जाते हैं, दाता साहब है, ये भी इन लोगों का, ये भी कीदा, यानी कि कल से इनका मेला शुरू हो रहा है। तो आना चाहिए लोगों को, विजिट करना चाहिए, बाबा जी क्या कहते रहे पूछना चाहिए, हर बात की तस्दीक होनी चाहिए। बस ये हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा इधर आके।
अच्छा, बिल्कुल हर मज़हब की हमें इज़्ज़त करनी चाहिए, हर मज़हब को के बारे में हमें जानने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए। बहुत शुक्रिया आपका।
अल्लाह हाफिज़।
अल्लाह हाफिज़। लिव लाइक मारिया के इस एपिसोड में मैं बहुत ज़्यादा एंजॉय कर रही हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने आज एक बहुत ही अच्छी नई जगह एक्सप्लोर की। पूरी दुनिया से सिख यात्रियों की बहुत बड़ी तादाद जो है वो हर साल पाकिस्तान आती है, और आप देख सकते हैं कि पाकिस्तान, इन्होंने रोड्स बहुत अच्छी बनाई हैं, और आप देख सकते हैं डेवलपमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी हुई है, कितनी सफाई सुथराई का इंतज़ाम किया गया है। कहीं भी मुझे गंदगी नज़र नहीं आ रही, सिक्योरिटी चेकिंग बहुत अच्छी है। तो आप मेरे साथ आएँ और एक्सप्लोर करें। आप मेरी बैक साइड पे देख सकते हैं वो जो जगह है, वो जो रूम है, मुझे पता चला है, मुझे बताया गया है कि वो वहाँ पे वो इबादत गाह थी, वहाँ पे इबादत करते थे पहले गुरु साहब। और इस वक्त आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर 10वें गुरु की जन्मदिन की तकरीबात जारी हैं। आप मेरी बैग पे देख सकते हैं कितनी सजावट की गई है। 10वें गुरु साहब के जो जन्मदिन की तकरीबात है वो जा रही हैं तकरीबन 1 महीने से। यहाँ पर 200 सिखों को शहीद किया गया था। मेरी बैक साइड पे देख सकते हैं कि उनकी याद में ये सोने की पालकी बनाई गई है। मौजूद हूँ सरोवर साहब में। एग्जैक्टली मुझे नहीं पता, मेरे साथ भाई साहब मौजूद हैं, ये मुझे बताएंगे, हमें बताएंगे।
जिते संगत होंदी ना, संगत इतने स्नान करते हैं, नहाना, पंजाबी नहाना भी कहना, स्नान करना ये साड़ा लाजमी है कि सरोवर स्नान करके कोई हो जब बीमारी कोई तकलीफ है ना वो दुख दूर हो जाएंगे।
अच्छा।
ये भी नाल गल है कि मैं अपने अखी वेख्या कि कोई जब बीमारी हो, जो डॉक्टर ने जवाब देता कि तेरी इलाज नहीं होता, उत्थे ना लवे तो अल्लाह ताला कृपा कर दो तंदुरुस्ती हो जाए।
अच्छा।
वो सामने कमरा औरतों वास्ते है पर्दा, ते ये मर्दों वास्ते है, ये स्नान करना जरूरी होंगे। एक बारी पहले गुसलखाने च नहाना साबुन नाल, इतने साबुन नाल नहीं नहा सकते, खाली स्नान करना, फिर वो पानी पाना वजूद नू पानी पा के स्नान इनू
अच्छा,
कहंदे।
पहले मुझे जैसे नहीं पता, आप बताइएगा कि पहले स्नान करना उसके बाद अंदर जाना है या अंदर से वापस आके भी स्नान कर सकते
नहीं,
हैं?
वो दी वजह कि पहले गुसलखाने स्नान करना पैंदा, इतने आके फिर साफ करके साबुन नहीं लाना, फिर स्नान करना वो पवित्र होता है।
अच्छा, ये कितनी खूबसूरत तालाब है, मैं इसे तालाब बोल सकती हूँ?
हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
अच्छा, कितना खूबसूरत तालाब है।
ये मछलियां भी है।
अच्छा।
जाला जुला है ना वो गंद गुंद वो खा लेंदा। और सफाई वे पानी किस तरह साफ है,
बिल्कुल साफ है, तो
खुला
किस तरह
जगह
से सफाई होती है भाई
है,
साहब
खुला
इसकी?
जगह है।
हाँ।
लेकिन मछलियां रखिया ये विच ना कि वो जाला जुला खा लेंदा, सफाई होलन।
तो सफाई किस तरह से होती है, डेली बेसिस पे होती है या महीने के बाद होती है?
नहीं नहीं, रोज टोकरी
रोज?
होंगी,
हाँ।
बंदे अपने ने गवर्नमेंट पाकिस्तान वालों वो ते सेवा करके ना ये पास से खड़ो के ना वो गंद इकट्ठा आके आ जाए।
अच्छा, आप कितने मुतमईन हैं, क्योंकि आप तो यहाँ पर होते हैं, कितने मुतमईन हैं सफाई के निज़ाम से, यहाँ पे सिक्योरिटी के निज़ाम से?
80-100%।
100%।
100%।
तो आप कितने साल से रह रहे हैं पाकिस्तान में?
मेरे तक में बस है तो वैसे दादे परदादे से पाकिस्तानी,
हाँ।
लेकिन मेरे तेरे 38 साल थे।
38 साल यहाँ पे हो गए, तो आप
रिटायर होके दोबारा फिर कमेटी जा गए।
अच्छा, तो पहले आप कहाँ इंडिया भी जाते थे?
नहीं, इंडिया एक दो रही है, लेकिन साड़ा मेन चीज़ यही हुई है।
Main
पहला
चीज़।
गुरु साड़ा गुरु नानक है, क्योंकि इतने आते ने दर्शन करते हैं। ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਗਿਆ ਜਾਂ ਉਮਰਾ ਤੇ ਜਿਸ ਤੂੰ ਉਮਰਾ ਕਰਨਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਤਰਾ ਕਰਨਾ, लेकिन पहला गुरु साड़ा ही है, शुरुआत साढ़े सिख मजहब ਦੀ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਹੋਈ।
बहुत शुक्रिया, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। यहाँ पर मैं एक चीज़
ज़रूर मेंशन करना चाहूँगी, जब मैं ओमान में मस्कत में हुआ करते थे तो हमारी फ्रेंड हुआ करती थी, जलंधर से थी, रविदीप कौर। आपको जिस तरह से मैंने जाना, आपको बहुत टाइम से आप मुझे कहा करती थी कि मैं यहाँ पर विज़िट करना चाहती हूँ, तो आपके बिहाफ पे आज मैं विज़िट कर रही हूँ और मैं उम्मीद करती हूँ और दुआ करती हूँ कि आप ज़रूर पाकिस्तान आएँ और इसको ज़रूर विज़िट करें। लव यू रविदीप। लिव लाइक मारिया की इस वीडियो में हमने एक्सप्लोर किया जन्म स्थान ननकाना साहब, जो गुरु नानक साहब का जो पहले गुरु हैं उनका जन्म स्थान था। ऐसी ही और इससे बहुत अच्छी और इससे बहुत अच्छी वीडियोस के लिए आप मेरे साथ ही रहें, और साथ रहने के लिए आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, मेरा चैनल सब्सक्राइब करना पड़ेगा, और चैनल सब्सक्राइब करने के लिए वहाँ पे बटन है वो दबाइए और मेरे साथ रहिए।
Namaste or Assalamu alaikum dosto, and I should say Sat Shri Akal. We are somewhere very special today. We are in Nankana Sahib. This is where Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born. So I'm here for you guys, I'm here for my Sikh friends, and I'm here for my family as well, for my wife Manisha. She loves Sikhism as well, so I'm here to show you where Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born, here in Pakistan. Nankana Sahib, the city. It's a small place. There's only 100,000 or so people here, but there's many Gurdwaras here dedicated to different parts of Guru Nanak Dev's life. But first, we're going to go to the main Gurdwara, and I just stopped here for breakfast, and oh my god, once you get outside of Lahore, which is about 75 kilometers from here, only 2-hour drive, the food, it just gets better and better, because here, it's all farming around here. These guys are all farmers here, and the food comes straight from the farm into these little roadside dabbas, and everything just tastes incredible because of that. And the tea just blew my mind as well, because they're using that fresh base milk from the farm. So Hugo is the star here. Hugo is taking all the selfies. I just pretended that I'm from Pakistan. Sat Shri Akal, we are inside now. We'll show you around in a second, but I just want to introduce you to someone I'm here with. This is Hugo.
Assalamu alaikum.
I literally met him at the hotel, and I'm like, come with me and I'll show you Nankana Sahib, and I'll teach you a little bit about Sikhism, just like my wife did to me. She taught me about Sikhism and took me to Gurdwaras across India as well. So, bro, I know you don't know much about Sikhism. I just taught him how to pronounce it as well. He was saying Sikh before, but it's Sikh.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, we're going to go explore this place, bro. Hope you're going to have fun.
Exactly.
Assalamu alaikum ji. आप Sikh या Muslim हैं? Acha, good. And the wonderful thing about Sikhism is they're so inclusive. Anyone can come here and can go to the Gurdwara behind us and pray. That's kind of one of the first things that I love about Sikhism. Anyone can also sleep in the Gurdwara at night. They kind of house the needy, at least in India anyway. And we're going to blow Hugo's mind by taking him to the Langar Hall as well today. Bro, you just said that you stayed the night in a Gurdwara in Amritsar?
Yeah, about 5
Bro, tell us what happened there.
5 or 6 years ago. It was I stayed behind at the end to like clean the dishes and stuff like that. There's some other travellers doing it, and then they let us stay. They let us stay in like a room.
Ah, so you already know about Sikhism and the hospitality then?
Yeah.
And kind of how accepting they are.
Yeah.
Then I think you might know what a Langar Hall is then.
Okay.
I think you're gonna know. All right, Hugo, first thing, we got to go and clean. So clean your hands, buddy. And now we're just walking into the Gurdwara. There's a lot of special places in there we're going to see now. You'll always have to come through and wash your feet here in the water.
भगत रस दीजे कर कृपा भगत रस दीजे मन खचित प्रेम रस खोरी नानक दास तेरी शरणाई कबिन आना होरी सारंग महला पंजवा चितवो वा अवसर मन माहे होए इकतार मिलो संत साजन होए इकतार मिलो संत साजन गुण गोविंद गण तुलना बहुत शुक्रिया करम साधन तुलना कछुए लाहे चरण कमल नानक मन भेजियो चरण आ जाओ बेटा माहे सारंग महला पंजवा मेरा कर संगे अंतर जामी
जल्दी करना फिर बंद करना
आगे कुशल पाछे खेम सूखा समृद्ध नाम स्वामी रहो साजन मीत सखा हर मेरे गुण गोपाल हर राया साजन मीत सखा हर मेरे गुण गोपाल हर राया बिसर ना जाई निमक हृदय दे बिसर ना जाई निमक हृदय दे पूरे गुरु मिलाया.
Also, how's your experience at this Gurdwara right now?
Yeah, it's amazing. The ambience is just so peaceful. It's incredible.
I know. There's so few people here too. Part of that is because, I mean, there used to be a bus service bringing Indians here, man, from Punjab, but because of the tensions between India and Pakistan, that's been stopped. Right. So we're not going to find any Indian pilgrims here. Whereas it was relatively easy for them to come here, actually, to get a visa, a religious tourism visa. But These days the bus service is cancelled, there's no flights between India and Pakistan, and yeah, it's just, there's no train as well. There's no trade as well.
Right.
It's just a very difficult situation. So the Sikhs have the Golden Temple, you've been, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the two most important places, I mean, Golden Temple's important, it's the most famous, but they say the birthplace right here and where Guru Nanak Dev Ji, where he passed away in Kartarpur Sahib, that's about 100 kilometers from here. They say those are the two very, very important places in Sikhism.
Okay, right.
So yeah, after partition, his birth and his death, you know, areas in Gurdwaras, they were separated. So it's, you know, difficult if you're a Sikh and you're living in India. You want to come and visit these places on a pilgrimage.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Not ideal.
No, far
That's
from
what I would say. And I hope that changes, that everyone can come here now.
That's good.
Behind me, this is where all the devotees can come and stay when they're coming to visit the Gurdwara. Now, bro, we're going to go to the Langar Hall, and you know more about Sikhism than I thought you did, okay? I just don't think he knows the name, like Langar Hall, Gurdwara, this type of stuff. So when I asked him, you know what Langar Hall is? Anyway, we're going to go to Langar Hall now, and let's get your reaction on that, because I think it's an incredible place.
Cool.
And here we are, the Langar Hall, and it says, remember God, work hard, share with needy. And that perfectly sums up Sikh people, perfectly. And have this concept in Sikhism, bro, called seva. And it literally means like service to others. And that's what we're gonna see in the Langar Hall right now, bro.
All right, yeah.
So this donkey has brought the saman, or the goods, for langar, for the hall to, you know, repack the pantry. I think isme chawal hai, no, sugar hai. Cheeni hai. Yeah, this is atta for the rotis, and tail, oil for cooking food. And so this is where all the cleaning gets done by volunteers. It's very, very quiet here today, actually. And now this is the Langar Hall, where anyone who wants to eat can come and eat here. Hello, kaise? Khana kaise? Acha hai? And we're gonna share out of this tray, and the Sikh guy is going to feed us. Thank you, Ji. Dal makhni. Assalamu alaikum. Kaise? Good. So we've got rice. It's pilau, actually. And try this dal here. This is dal makhni, okay? Tasty, bro? He likes it. And there's how people get served here at the Langar Hall. Kya ji? अच्छा ना? हैं? New Zealand. हाँ जी. We're leaving now, and I'm sad to leave. We had such a lovely afternoon here.
Yeah.
And what would be one takeaway that you got from today then, bro?
Well, just seeing like selfless acts, really. Like, I just feel everyone could learn a bit from Sikhism. Just this idea of giving away to the needy.
Seva. He's talking about seva. You're right, man. I think what you just said, the second point as well. Everyone can learn something from Sikhism.
Yeah.
Totally. We can all learn so much from each other's religions, cultures, and beliefs. And man, that's one thing I love about India, man. Like, I'm learning so much there from everybody, whether they're Hindu, Muslim, or Sikhs. So that's the beauty of India, man.
Absolutely.
This video is on Farm Bill 2020. You must have seen in the news that farmers in India have been protesting since 3 controversial bills were passed in the parliament in the name of agriculture reforms. They are: the first one is the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020. The second one is the Farming Produce, Trade and Commerce, Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2020. And the third one is the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020. First, let me explain what these bills are. The first one is the Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020. When you look at these words, Empowerment Protection Agreement, it is easy to understand that this bill has something to do with protecting the farmer's interest through a legal agreement. Now the question is, protect the farmers from what? Again, we need to look at the title of the bill. It says on price assurance and farm services. That means if you are a farmer and I'm a business owner and I want to buy your products, it could be dal, chawal, gehu, sabzi, whatever. For that, I need to get into a legal agreement with you. And this legal agreement is for a farmer's interest, so that a farmer is not cheated. A farmer can be cheated by a company in many ways. Suppose if I tell you that I need 1 ton of rice at so-and-so price. And later I will tell you that half of the rice is not of good quality. Hence, I will change the pricing now. So to prevent these kind of change of thoughts or any other form of exploitation, this bill provides a dispute settlement mechanism between a farmer and a buyer by an established authority. So far everything looks good. Now I want you to pay attention to the last 2 words, farming services. I mean, we understand what is price assurance. Whatever a farmer and a buyer decides over an agreement, that is what should be paid to the farmer. This we know. But what is the context of the words farm services? It sounds like as if a buyer can specifically tell the farmer what quality or grade is required, when to deliver the products, and there could be many more such demands. Now this is called contract farming. The agreement will outline conditions for the production of farm products and for their delivery to the buyer's premises. The farmer then agrees to supply products based on the quality standards and delivery requirements of the purchaser and many other matters. In return, the buyer, which is usually a company, agrees to buy the product, often at a price that is established in advance. That means the primary purpose of this act is for contract farming. And the secondary purpose of this act is providing a nationwide legal framework wherein a farmer will produce crops as per contracts with corporate investors for a mutually agreed remuneration. The government says that this act will transform Indian agriculture and attract private investment. Well, if you see, it does attract private investment. Companies often agree to support the farmers through supplying inputs, assisting with land preparation, providing production advice, and transporting produce to its premises. However, if you look at the farmer's side, their fear is that a powerful corporate investor would legally dominate the farmers and put the liability clauses on them. As you know, everything today comes with a condition apply that many of the educated people find it difficult to follow up. So obviously there are chances where a private company can exploit a farmer very easily with legal clauses. This is a major problem for the farmers, and it is a genuine one. Let's go to the second bill, the Farming Produce, Trade and Commerce, Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2020. If you look at the title, it says Trade and Commerce, Promotion and Facilitation. That means it is talking about trading of farm goods outside the physical premises of mandi or APMC yards. Earlier, agricultural trade could be conducted only in the APMC yards, like warehouses and cold storages or mandis. But this new act will give farmers the freedom to sell their goods anywhere within the state or outside any state. If you all know that all the subjects in India are divided into 3 lists: Union list, state list and concurrent list. Agriculture comes under the state list. Many states like Punjab and Haryana could lose a big source of state revenue. You must have seen your parents on Saturday or Sunday going to a mandi to buy vegetables and other agricultural supplies. Now these mandis are spread across the nation and farmers sell their agricultural produce in these mandis. And these mandis are controlled by state government through APMC. Now there are restrictions for farmers if they sell their agricultural produce outside the mandis, because the products that have a minimum support price need to be compulsorily go through APMC. Otherwise, if you see, small farmers can sell directly to consumers. They are even doing it now. But if you are a large-scale farmer and you want your produce to be protected by the government, then you have to notify APMC or trade with only APMC licensed trader. So anyhow, this bill will allow barrier-free trade in agriculture produce outside the notified APMC mandis. With the help of this bill, the state government will not impose taxes on sale and purchase of farm produce outside the mandis and give farmers the freedom to sell their produce at good price. If you see, this bill is beneficial for big farmers because they will have more choices and they can actually start selling to the private players. On the other hand, this will hardly make a difference to the small farmers. They are anyhow selling outside the mandis, plus due to transportation and logistic costs, small farmers don't have any incentive to go long distance or intrastate to sell the goods. So yes, some big farmers will get better choices. But I also want to bring in another perspective. This is also a way for the government to get out of the agricultural business. Once the farmers get an entry into the market, they can sell to anyone and earn more. However, farmers' income will also depend upon ups and downs of the market. Suppose the demand for a particular product in the market is low. Due to low demand, the prices will fall. But the cost of cultivation was high. You see, now a farmer will be squeezed between the cost of cultivation and low prices. In this situation, the government will not intervene by giving any form of subsidy or procurement. So there is a trade-off. You can't have everything. Plus the private players are smart. They function on low cost. They will use every strategy to buy at less price and sell it at a high price to earn profit. And the third bill is the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020. Now this one is not a new bill. Central government has made an amendment in the existing Essential Commodities Bill. First of all, what is Essential Commodities Bill? Basically, it's a law that controls the production, supply and distribution of certain commodities. From the title of the bill, you can figure out that it's talking about essential commodities. Now, what are those commodities? Now, these commodities are such things, suppose if you illegally store them for creating artificial demand, or you do black marketing of such commodities, it will affect the normal life of the people. For example, certain essential food, medicines, fuel, petroleum products, etc. With the help of this law, the central government can include new commodities as and when the need arises, and it can also take them off the list once the situation improves. For example, let's say there is shortage of onion. Suppose there are some traders or wholesalers, they have kept a lot of onion in stock in order to create artificial demand. When the demand increases, obviously the price will increase. So the whole idea behind creating artificial demand is to sell a product at a higher price. Now what the central government can do is, it can bring onions under the act to make sure that onions are available to people at the right price. Recently in March 2020, the central government brought masks and hand sanitizers under the act to make sure that these products are available to the people at the right price and in the right quality during the pandemic in India. Then from 1st July 2020, the government again removed masks and hand sanitizers from essential commodity list. So I hope now you understand the purpose of this bill. Now the amendment that has been suggested and then added in this bill is regarding removing certain commodities as essential. So what the government of India did was it removed certain commodities as essential, so that it will allow the government to regulate their supply and prices only in cases of war, famine, extraordinary price rises, or natural calamities. And those commodities are food items including cereals, pulses, potato, onion, edible oil seeds, and oils. As you can see, these commodities are consumed on daily basis by you and me. Now that these commodities are removed from the essential list, that means obviously their prices will go up. And the government is saying that these items will be added back into the essential list only during situations like war, famine, extraordinary price rises, or natural calamities. So on one hand, by removing these items from the essential commodities list, the government has taken a good step towards boosting farmers' income. But if you look at foodstuffs like pulses, onions, and edible oil, they are part of every household's daily essential commodities. Now that the government is not going to regulate the supply of such food items, then there is a high chance of hoarding. That is why right now if you go to the market, you will find that the cost of these items have increased. The new amendment also states that the government will regulate the stocks of these items based on rising prices. Now there are few more conditions to it. You see, pulses, cereals, oil seeds, and edible oil, they are non-perishable items. In other words, they can be stored at room temperature for months or years as they have longer shelf life. So the government is saying that it will only interfere and bring these items again in the essential commodities list if there is a 50% increase in the retail price of these non-perishable item. For example, let's say the cost of your favorite dal is 100 rupees kg. Well, now the dal is no longer in the essential list. If at all tomorrow the cost goes more than 50%, that is 151 rupees per kg, only then the government will interfere and bring it back into the essential list in order to control its pricing. So 50% is the limit set for non-perishable items. For perishable items like onion, potato, the limit is set to 100%. That means if the cost of onion today is, let's say, 50 rupees kg, if at all the cost goes up more than 100%, that is 101 rupees per kg, only then the government will interfere and bring it back into the essential list in order to control its price. So 100% is the limit set for perishable food items. So on one hand, by removing these items from the essential commodities list, the government has taken a good step towards boosting farmers' income. But on the other hand, there will be price rise and risk of hoarding, and black marketing will increase, and that might lead to monopoly of few individuals over prices of certain goods. Because let's say if I'm a trader or a big agricultural company or a private retailer like Reliance, Spencer, or any of the food market chain that you see near your place, I can now go deep into villages to buy agricultural products directly, give the farmers the best price, and come back to the city and earn a profit anywhere between 50% to 100%, depending on whether it is perishable or non-perishable item. For example, in the above example I said if tomorrow the cost of dal goes up more than 151 rupees per kg, as per this new amendment, only then the government will interfere to control its price. Now as a private company, I have the liberty to set the price of the dal anywhere between 100 to 150 rupees kg. Of course, I cannot blindly sell it at the highest price because then I will lose out on customers. But then I'm also assuming that the farmers are smart and they will also increase their price while selling it to these private players. If that is the case, still the private companies will sell it at higher price to make profit. So it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it is going to pinch yours and my pocket. And we all know that agriculture as a subject comes under the state list. So the opposition parties are saying that it is a highly centralizing act. The center is interfering with the state subjects. But if you see, the central government is interfering little bit, not completely, because the Essential Commodities Act gives the power to the central government. Plus, the central government is not deciding the price of any agricultural commodity. It is just setting a limit within which the price has to fluctuate. So these are the 3 farm bills introduced by the central government. I hope you have gained some clarity over it. But one thing you have to prepare for is that the cost of the food items will rise. I hope you found this video informative. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I will see you in the next one.
ਬਿਨਾਂ ਸੀ ਤੋਂ ਲੜਨਾ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆ।
ਆਪਣੇ ਲਈ ਧਰਨਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਬਹਿ ਗਿਆ ਦਿੱਲੀਏ, ਆਪਣੇ ਲਈ ਧਰਨਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਬਹਿ ਗਿਆ ਦਿੱਲੀਏ ਨੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਟਾਂਗੇ।
सत श्री अकाल गोदी मीडिया जी, हम पंजाब में 2 महीने से बैठे हैं। आप कहाँ थे? आज यहाँ आ गए हैं तो आप करा रहे हैं ऐसे है। गोदी मीडिया मुर्दाबाद मुर्दाबाद।
ये साडी पैली च बगाना पैर पै गया दिल्लीए नी ਅਸੀਂ ਵਟਾਂਗੇ। पैली च बगाना कुत्ता मुर्दाबाद, पैली च बगाना कोई बह गया दिल्लीए नी ਅਸੀਂ ਵਟਾਂਗੇ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਫੌਜਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਮੋਦੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਆਲ ਓਵਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਡਟ ਕੇ ਖੜੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਕੰਗਣਾ ਰਣੌਤ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਬੁੱਢੀਆਂ ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੂੰ ਗਲਤ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਚੰਡੀ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਪੜ ਕੇ 100 ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ ਗਾਟਾ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਮੋਦੀ ਦੇ ਜੁੱਤੀਆਂ ਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੇ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਖੜੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਜੇ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਆ, ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਕੋਈ ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ। ਮੋਦੀ ਨੂੰ ਫਾਇ ਟੰਗਾਂਗੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਟੰਗਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ।
ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਪਿਓ ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਗੀਰ ਵੱਟਾਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ, ਆਸ਼ਕੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੀਰ ਵੱਟਾਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ।
ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਕ
ਜੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਪੈਲੀ ਚ ਬਗਾਨਾ ਪੈਰ ਪੈ ਗਿਆ ਦਿੱਲੀਏ ਨੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਟਾਂਗੇ। ਦਾਤੇ ਜੇ ਨਾ ਹੋਣ ਨੀਤਾ ਕਾਲੀਆਂ, ਪੰਜਾਲੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਚ ਨਾ ਆਉਣ ਸੰਤਾਲੀਆਂ।
ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ।
ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਅੱਗ ਦਾਤੇ ਜੇ ਨਾ ਹੋਣ ਨੀਤਾ ਕਾਲੀਆਂ, ਪੰਜਾਲੀ ਵਾਲੇ
ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਮੋਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ। ਕਿਸਾਨ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰ ਏਕਤਾ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਕਿਸਾਨ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰ ਏਕਤਾ ਜਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ। ਨਾ ਜੀ ਮੋਦੀ ਹਾਏ ਹਾਏ, ਨਾ ਜੀ ਮੋਦੀ ਹਾਏ ਹਾਏ, ਕਲਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਹਾਏ ਹਾਏ, ਰਾਪਿਸਟ ਮੋਦੀ ਹਾਏ ਹਾਏ, ਅਡਾਨੀ ਅਵਾਨੀ ਹਾਏ ਹਾਏ, ਅਡਾਨੀ ਅਵਾਨੀ।
ਆਪਾਂ ਵਿਚਾਰਣੀਆਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਦਿਹਾੜੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੀਆਂ ਉੱਥੇ। ਜ਼ੋਰ ਨਾਲ ਪੂਰਾ, ਪਰ ਬਾਅਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ 5 ਮਿੰਟ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਜਾਪ ਕਰਨਾ, ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੁਕਰਾਨਾ ਕਰਨਾ। ਸਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ। ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਮਾਤਾਵਾਂ 70 ਸਾਲ ਦੀਆਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਆਪਾਂ 5 ਮਿੰਟ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਰ ਪੈਣਾ।
ਜੁੱਤੀਆਂ ਮਾਰ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਆਪਦਾ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਲਵਾਂਗੇ। ਹਾਂਜੀ ਆਹ ਵੇਖ ਲਓ, ਇਹਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਟੀ ਬੜੀ ਆ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਸਾਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਿਹੰਗਾਂ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਦੀ। ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਤੰਗ ਕਰੇ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਦੇ ਹੁਕਮ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਵਾਪਸ ਲੈ ਲੇ, ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੁਰੀ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ।
ਜੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਪੈਲੀ ਚ ਬਗਾਨਾ ਪੈਰ ਪੈ ਗਿਆ ਦਿੱਲੀਏ ਨੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਟਾਂਗੇ। ਪੈਲੀ ਚ ਬਗਾਨਾ।
The Indian government has abruptly backed down on farm reforms after more than a year of mass protests. The announcement on a major Sikh festival is a surprise, as officials had not made any significant concessions. It also comes ahead of several key elections early next year. Live to Neha Punia in a moment, but first, a look at how it all unfolded.
It's not just festivities. Farmers in India are celebrating the repeal of contentious agriculture laws as the Guru Purab festival gets underway. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says the 3 farm laws will be withdrawn by the end of the month. He conceded that the government had failed to win farmers over.
साथियों, मैं आज अपने सभी आंदोलनरत किसान साथियों से आग्रह कर रहा हूं, आज गुरु पर्व का पवित्र दिन है। अब आप अपने अपने घर लौटे, अपने खेत में लौटे, अपने परिवार के बीच लौटे। आइए एक नई शुरुआत करते हैं, नए सिरे से आगे बढ़ते हैं।
किसान रहेगा, धरती पर तूफान रहेगा।
The sudden U-turn caps more than a year of nationwide protests. Farmers blocked major highways as the numbers swelled to tens of thousands. Rallies lasted through the seasons, even as dozens died from the elements and COVID-19. Rallies also turned violent at times as tensions spilled over. The government saw the farming reforms as a boon, necessary to modernize the sector and boost production. But demonstrators saw them as a bane that will cut into profits and leave them at the mercy of big corporations.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी का ऐलान स्वागत है, करते हैं हम उसका, लेकिन किसान तब तक यहाँ से नहीं जाएगा जब तक ये संसद से जैसे पास हुए थे, संसद से ही रद्द हों।
खुशी का तो है, पर सरकार पर यकीन थोड़ा कम है किसान को। असली जब होगा जब मोहर मार देगा, पक्का कर देगा कागज हमारा संसद में और एमएसपी गारंटी दे देगा।
Agriculture is India's lifeblood. Around 2/3 of its 1.3 billion people rely on the sector for their livelihoods. The industry also accounts for around 15% of the country's $2.7 trillion economy.
Neha Punia joins us live from Delhi. Neha, it's a rare climb down ahead of pivotal state elections.
Absolutely. It's a stunning and frankly unexpected U-turn, Steve. The first of its kind we've seen from Mr. Modi since he came to power in 2014. And it's important because for nearly a year now, Mr. Modi, his ministers, several leaders of his ruling BJP have repeatedly said that at no cost would these laws be scrapped. But clearly they have done a cost assessment now. And with regional elections in 5 states just a few months away, experts say they didn't want to upset the farmers of these regions, which are largely agrarian. It's also important to note that this movement has been gathering a lot of support in the last few months, especially in the states of Punjab and Uttar Pradesh. There's been a groundswell of support for this movement, and farmers have said they were planning to go door to door and campaign against Mr. Modi, asking voters in these states to vote out his party. Now, in Punjab, the BJP is not in power, but in Uttar Pradesh, they are, and they want to retain power there. It's also a state that's important because it sends the most number of parliamentarians to India's lower house. So it's clearly this assessment that the BJP has factored in, but the party is going on record to say that this is not about worries pegged to losing upcoming state elections. They're saying Mr. Modi cares for the farmers of the country, and he felt bad that they were on the roads protesting for nearly a year now. But to just give you a sense of how much distrust and bad blood there exists between farmers and the government, farmers say they're not going to take Mr. Modi's word for it. They're not going to end their protest immediately, and they plan to continue protesting, they say, until they see Parliament convene later this month and actually scrap these laws.
While the farmers seem to be getting what they want, even if they don't believe it quite yet, tell us about some of the consequences for the agriculture sector and the wider Indian economy as a result of all this.
It is a sector that has been riddled with problems for decades, Steve. And in spite of all of this, it is really in many ways the backbone of the Indian economy. It contributes upwards of 15% to India's GDP. More than 50% of the country's workforce is employed in agriculture, which tells you why they're both important from a political and an economic point of view. Most farmers agree that there is an urgent need for reform in the sector that's riddled with the involvement of middlemen, which are impacting farm incomes that have been falling for years now. We've seen an uptick in farmer suicides in the last decade as well because of the fact that this sector is no longer as profitable as it used to be. But their contention is, while it's important to bring in laws that reform this sector, you cannot do it without our consent. They had a problem, they say, with the way these laws were passed. They were passed without consulting farmers, and because the BJP enjoys brute majority in Parliament, Mr. Modi, interestingly, is also not ruled out bringing back these laws at some point in the future. But I think the way they do it this time around might be entirely different.
All right, May, thanks for that update. Neha Punya speaking to us from New Delhi.